Iran has agreed to a deal. All scheduled strikes and bombings against Iran were cancelled by the President of the United States, saying in a post on Truth Social last night that, quote, discussions and final points have been, in both concept and great detail, approved by all parties involved. President Trump cautioned that the US naval blockade will remain in full force and effect until this transaction is finalized, adding that the time and place of the signing will be announced shortly.
We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. Probably have a signing maybe in Europe, and it's a great thing. Stock market's up 1,000 points. That means they like the deal. See, that means they like. If the market goes down, that means they don't like the deal. But it's been up. Oil's dropped. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. I said I was in Iowa. It was $1.85 a gallon. And I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we're going to get pretty close. It's going to come down, and when oil comes down, everything else comes down. And most importantly, we have a deal that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which was the whole purpose of what we had to go through to get this. So it was a big, very big thing. But we have a signing soon, and the documents are in pretty final shape. So we'll see. We'll see. Very good. Should be done. That should be done pretty quickly. They want it every bit as much as everybody else wants it. And I think a lot of good relationships can ensue from this. I just spoke with the leaders of many of the countries that were mentioned in the release. I just spoke to Bibi. I spoke to the head of great heads of nations. And we're going to be talking to Turkey. President Erdogan was great. And it's really a wonderful thing with a lot of spirit. Pakistan was fantastic. The whole Middle East is happy. And long beyond the Middle East, the Strait will open as soon as we have it signed.
The Renewed Hope Act, included in the Secure America Act, signed into law by President Donald Trump on Wednesday, aims to combat child sexual exploitation in the US by helping identify an estimated 89,000 children depicted in abuse material who may still be at risk. The law expands Homeland Security investigations by roughly 200 trained personnel to analyze child abuse material, locate victims, and assist in prosecuting offenders. The Tim Tebow Foundation backed the bill with advocacy, highlighting CSAM case backlogs and previous operations that helped identify hundreds of victims.
Mr. Speaker, I rise today in strong support of the Secure America Act, legislation that will secure our border, provide critical resources to law enforcement, and make our communities safer. I want to highlight a provision of this bill that I have spent years fighting to advance, along with the Tim Tebow Foundation and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the bipartisan Renewed Hope Act. Today, more than 89,000 children depicted in child sex abuse material remain unidentified. That means 89,000 children who have not yet been found, not yet rescued, not yet safe. The Renewed Hope Act will give Homeland Security investigations the analysts, forensic specialists, technology, and training that are needed to identify those children, rescue them, bring them home, and bring their predators to justice. For every child still waiting to be found, this is renewed hope. Every vote for this bill is a vote to find these children. I urge my colleagues, Republicans and Democrats alike, to do the right thing, fight for these children, and support this legislation.
The aftermath of Monday night's migrant knife attack in Belfast, Northern Ireland, has brought signs of a deepening crisis in the United Kingdom into sharp focus, with no clear end in sight. The victim, Stephen Ogilvie, suffered severe injuries including the loss of his left eye and extensive damage to his eye socket after the Sudanese asylum seeker attempted to behead Ogilvy in broad daylight. Citizens across Northern Ireland have been protesting for 3 consecutive days, demanding an end to mass migration. Additional officers have been deployed to Northern Ireland from across the UK as frustration continues to mount. And tensions are rising not only on the streets of the UK, but also within the Prime Minister's office, as 3 Ministry of Defence officials resigned on Thursday over delays to the Defence Investment Plan and concerns about insufficient military funding. Secretary of Defence John Healey was the first to hand in his resignation letter, with Alistair Cairns, the Minister for the Armed Forces, short on his heels. Pamela Nash, who served as the Parliamentary Private Secretary, followed shortly after. In his resignation letter to the Prime Minister, Cairns stated that he has sat in rooms, seen the assessments, and spoken to the commanders who will be asked to do more with less, adding that a serious country funds its defence to meet the threat it actually faces. The EU Pact on Migration and Asylum took full effect today, which introduces mandatory border screening, accelerated asylum and return procedures, and enhances cooperation with third countries. While this may look like a promising measure, the fine print raises eyebrows. This pact also mandates EU countries to share in the responsibility for migrants by assisting in relocating of asylum seekers, contributing financially, or providing operational support to other countries. Critics argue the pact imposes unwanted EU-level control and financial logistical obligations on member states, rather than letting them decide their own migration policies.
Ces défis, ces enjeux et ces urgences, nous les connaissons. Tom en a esquissé quelques-uns. D'abord, la lutte existentielle contre la submersion migratoire, dont le pacte pour les migrations est l'un des derniers abattoirs bruxellois que nous avons maintes et maintes fois dénoncé au cours de la campagne européenne. Le 12 juin prochain, soit dès vendredi, dès demain, le pacte migratoire entrera en application sur le continent européen et en France, avec le soutien du président de la République et notamment de l'ancien ministre de l'Intérieur, M. Retailleau. Ce pacte met nos nations devant un chantage inacceptable, soit l'accueil obligatoire de migrants qui seront répartis dans les villes, et notamment dans nos villages encore préservés, soit l'imposition de lourdes amendes financières à hauteur, vous vous en souvenez, de près de 20 000 € par migrant refusé. Nous récusons cette logique de sanctions et de punitions contraire en tout point aux intérêts des nations européennes et par conséquent au fonctionnement normal de la démocratie. Ni la France ni l'Europe n'ont vocation à accueillir une immigration supplémentaire, pas plus qu'elles n'ont à être sanctionnées financièrement pour ce choix libre et souverain. Ni les Français ni les Flamands ne veulent en effet devenir demain des étrangers sur leur propre sol.
And Beijing continues to firmly reject EU demands and sanctions, targeting Chinese entities over alleged support for Russia's military efforts in Ukraine. This follows new proposed sanctions against Russia, which could target entities in third countries, including China. Beijing's foreign ministry says sanctions without UN Security Council approval are unacceptable.
China has stated on multiple occasions that China opposes illicit unilateral sanctions that have no basis in international law or the authorization of the UN Security Council. We have lodged serious protests to the EU side on multiple occasions to urge the EU to correct the wrongdoing and withdraw the illicit unilateral sanctions. China will closely watch the developments and do what is necessary to firmly protect its legitimate rights and interests.
This is Melissa Negrini with your latest breaking news report.